All right, so Kantara Chapter 1 is finally out, and all the hype, big budget, 3 years in the making. Does the movie deliver? I tell you what, it's going to be very difficult for me to do this video without any spoilers, but I'm going to try my best. But yeah, let's get into it. So let's try and talk about all the positive aspects first, all the things that the movie was able to execute really well. So, first of all, the movie looks really beautiful, and I mean really good. None of the shots really seem fake or like it's shot on a set. You can tell that it's they're shot in real locations, and it looks stunning. The movie is not exactly vibrant. There are actually a lot of dark shots in the movie. There are quite a few shots in the movie which actually take place in the nighttime or deep within the jungle in the darkness, but it looks beautiful regardless. As far as the cinematography and the visuals are concerned, I think this movie really executed all of the shots really well, and it shows. It's really a treat for the eye, and it really is a beautiful theatrical experience. So I thought that the movie was really well paced, and I genuinely did not get bored for even a single minute of the runtime. And the movie is pretty lengthy; it's 2 hour 49 minutes. So when I made the review of the trailer for this movie, I mentioned that we could be looking at slow storytelling and the world building, and that's exactly what the entire first half of this movie was. And the first 5 to 10 minutes or so, you get introduced to all the different characters that you're going to see in this movie. So another thing that comes off as a positive for the movie is comedy. The humor is actually very well played out. It doesn't seem forced. None of the jokes really come off as lame. It's placed well within the movie. There's a lot of like comedic elements in between action sequences, at the end of action sequences, and sometimes in between serious conversations, but they land well. They don't seem forced. So another thing that the movie was able to execute really well was the VFX, and boy does the VFX look really good. There are quite a few CG animals in this movie, and all of them look beautiful. Obviously, there's the tiger that they showed in the trailer, and the tiger actually does have quite a bit of runtime in the movie, and the tiger looks beautiful. So I think they did really well with the VFX. They were able to nail it. So this movie really goes to show that you really need to have it within you to want to actually make a really good movie and have that dedication for it. Because in recent times we've seen a lot of movies that come up with huge budgets in 300 crores, 400 crores, 500 crores. Talk about all the CG and all the VFX, but when they actually release it, the movies come out looking like cartoons. It kind of feels like the director just hired an intern from like internshala and gave him a laptop and put him in a room and told him to animate stuff. So the music, I think the music is just fantastic. Ajnish Loknath has just composed a beautiful score for this movie, and all of the different scores in the movie does a really good job of keeping you hooked onto the scenes. Whatever it is, it might be an action sequence or an emotional sequence. So they actually use some of the music from the original Kantara movie itself, and I think that was actually a good choice because the first movie had such great music, and it and obviously both the movies have a connection with the storyline, and it just works really well. So let's talk about the negative aspects of the movie, which I feel are actually quite less, but depends on who you ask and depends on how you look at it. So the action, I feel like all the action sequences were really well done, but none of them really sort of like stick out for me in the movie. Or if I'm going to be looking back at this movie, I don't know if I'm going to be able to like really think about one particular action sequence that was memorable. Obviously I'm excluding the some of the climax sequences from this because that is something entirely different. So whenever there's an action sequence, I feel like there's just a lot of chaos going on the screen, and just has a lot of elements to it, like a lot of people moving around, a lot of stuff moving around, and it kind of like made me disconnect a bit a few times. I'm not saying that it is really, I'm not saying that the action is bad, but I've definitely seen better action than this in a lot of other movies. But again, it works for this movie. Whatever they were able to pull off, I think it works for the movie. I think the only other negative aspect for the movie would be that the first half can start to slow down a bit and feel like it's lagging a bit. Like I mentioned, the first 5 to 10 minutes of the movie was, introducing different characters for us, and the movie spends quite a bit of time with the characters, interacting with each others and building relationships with one another. And I feel like there are some shots and scenes that the movie actually could have done without, and it wouldn't make any difference in the story. So, and all of that happens in the first half itself. So the first half, I feel like somewhere, just doesn't give you that thrill that the second half does. Obviously, because of how good the climax is, but it's not just the climax itself in the second half. Right from the interval and onwards, the movie really does get really, really interesting, and the story just gets so much better and better, and the action also seems to just elevate, and everything is just seems perfect in the second half. But yeah, there was no comedy in the second half. Like, again, there's just so much contrast between the first and the second half. There's a lot of comedy in the first half, which works really well. But now that I think about it, I can't really remember any jokes from the second half at all. I don't remember, I don't think there was any comedy in the second half. So it really does switch gears. It gets really serious in the second half. So you can really start to see how much the first half of the movie kind of feels disconnected from the second half. You only kind of realize that once you are done with the entire movie. You look back at it and you think that, the first half just sorry, the second half just overpowers the first half so much, so that it just feels like they're completely two different movies almost. So I really can't think of any other negative aspects for the movie, because to be honest, I really did love the movie. And once the movie was done, just kind of sat there just thinking about everything that I had just seen, especially in the climax sequence. It was just amazing. The movie just leaves you in a state of wow. So the movie does really have a slow build from the beginning, and just before the interval, there's a little action sequence, and in that sequence, they kind of slowly start to show you some secrets, and from there on, it really kind of intrigues you, and the movie never stops. Like I said, from there on, and it's just so so stimulating, in the entire second half, to say the least. But yeah, I think that this movie did it really live up to the hype? I think so. For me personally, I feel like uh Rishabh Shetty did really outdo the first Kantara, if I'm being honest. That's how I felt once I watched the movie. There are actually a lot of surprises in the movie. There's just so much in the movie that they did not show in the trailer. I feel like the trailer for the movie was just entirely made from the first half itself, because there's just so much that happens in the second half. There are twists and there are surprises. There's secrets that are being revealed. There's just, but it doesn't feel complicated. It doesn't feel like it's too much, or it's not overwhelming. It's just it's thrilling. The second half is just so perfect, man. I don't know. I was even talking to a few friends of mine, and that's what everybody seemed to relate to. They feel like the first half was boring, and the second half was really everything for the movie. If you're gonna really rewatch the movie, maybe second or third time, I feel like most people would want to skip the first half entirely. So that's how much of a contrast there is really between both of the halves. So if you're thinking about whether you should actually go to the theater and watch this movie, uh, this is my suggestion to you, suggestion or advice, opinion, whatever you consider. But uh, don't miss it. This is an absolute must watch in the theater. It is just a theatrical experience that you will not forget. Uh, Definitely for the at least the next few days. So that's it, guys. That's my review of the movie. And if you guys have already watched the movie, let me know in the comments section what you thought about it. Did you think that the movie really lived up to the hype? Let me know. But yeah, please do leave a like on the video before you scroll away, because it really helps the channel. And if you like this kind of type of content, please subscribe to the channel. And that's it. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.